The story The Last Lesson is written by Alphonse Daudet. Alphonse Daudet was a French novelist and the short story writer. The Last Lesson is set in the days of the Franco-Prussian War in the year 1870 and 1871, in which France was defeated by Prussia led by Bismarck. Prussia then consisted of what now are the nations of Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria. In this story, the French districts of Alsace-Lorraine have passed into Prussian hands. The author narrates about the year 1870 when the Prussian forces had captured France and people were asked to learn German instead of French. The French districts of Alsace-Lorraine went into Prussian hands. The French teachers were asked to leave. Now M. Emile, who was a French teacher, could not stay in the township and teach French. Still, he gave the last lesson to his students with utmost devotion and sincerity as ever. Franz was a student who was rushing towards his school as he was late for the school that day. On his way, he observed the birds chirping at the edge of the wood. He also observed many people who had gathered near the bulletin board to read the news. He saw the Prussian soldiers were drilling, and it was all much more tempting than the rule for participles. He had not prepared for the participles, and so he was very much sure that he would be punished by his teacher that very day. But he still gathered the strength and resisted what he was willing to observe, and he hurried off to school. When he passed the town hall, there was a crowd in front of the bulletin board. For the last 2 years, all the bad news related to the lost battles and the orders of the commanding officer had come to them by reading the news pasted on the bulletin board or written on the bulletin board. And then Franz thought to himself, what could be the matter? But as he was in short of time, he rushed towards the school. On his way, he heard somebody say, "Don't go so fast, bub. You will get to your school in plenty of time." After hearing these words, Franz thought to himself that the stranger might have been making fun of him because he was late for the class that day. When he reached the school, he saw his classmates ready to attend MML's class. They had all set themselves and they had been occupying the places, that is the back benches in the class. M. Emil, who was about to commence his last session, was holding an iron ruler under his arm. Franz opened the door and entered the classroom, and he was surprised. He was surprised to see M. Emil dressed in his fine Sunday clothes. And he was also surprised to see how the villagers had come to the school and they had occupied the back benches and they were interested in listening to what was being taught in the class and what was about to be informed to them by M. Emil. M. Emil saw Franz and he kindly said, "Go to your place quickly, little Franz." Besides this, the whole school seemed to be strange and solemn. The villagers, including the old hosher, mayor, and the postmaster, and besides them, there were many others who had come to attend MML session, were quietly sitting in the class. They looked sad. But Franz could not get the clue about what was going on. He took his place and he waited for M. Emil to begin the class. MML started his session by saying, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace-Lorraine. The new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. I want you to be very attentive." After saying so, he became emotional. He did not know what to convey to the students because for him French was the most beautiful language in the world, and he wanted the people who had gathered there to realize the same and learn French attentively. When the class started, French heard his name being called out to recite the rules of participles, which he was unable to do as he got stuck on the first word. He felt very disgusted with himself at his failure to do so. M. Emil said he wouldn't scold him for he was feeling so bad about it. Everyday learning had been postponed to the next day, and now there was no time left to learn. He further said that they would be mocked by people for calling themselves French, although they couldn't speak or write their own language. Further, MML says even many parents had preferred to send their children to work than to school. Then he confesses that he too was to be blamed because many times he had given a holiday when he wanted to go fishing. M. Emil said that French was the most beautiful language in the world. It was the clearest and logical one. He then opened the book and explained a grammar lesson to them. Franz was surprised at himself, for he understood the lesson very well. Also, M. Emil had explained the lesson more patiently than ever. It almost seemed as if, in one go, he wanted to give them all that he knew. All the children worked seriously and quietly in the class. M. Emil made people realize the importance of mother tongue. While the class was doing their writing assignment, M. Emil sat motionless in his chair, staring at all the things as if he wanted to remember just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. Since M. Emil had started school 40 years ago, nothing had changed except the desks and chairs had worn off and the trees had grown taller. At 12, all of them could hear the Prussians returning from the drill. At this, M. Emil could not think about anything much, and so he went to the blackboard and wrote, "Viva la France." He then leaned against the desk and dismissed the class with a gesture. The story is a wake up call for all those people who keep on postponing the things endlessly. The natives of Alsace-Lorraine, who could realize their mistake very late, could not forego learning their mother tongue. The story extrapolates the fact that war makes men inhuman and insensitive to the feelings of others. Read the story and try to summarize it in your own words.